What's up guys and girls? Today I'm going to be looking at how you guys can find additional lap time in F1 22. I'm going to run through my exact process of how I improved my lap time around the Red Bull Ring, and I'll show you my previous best lap time, my new lap time, and exactly how I got there. Now, this process that I'm going to show you uses a track analysis tool, which is completely free to try out. And the best part is that this tool can be used across a variety of sim racing games from F1 to ACC and the original Assetto Corsa. This free to use tool is a way to extract hidden data from inside the game. It allows you to view your real telemetry data and compare it against previous laps and other sim racers. Using this method, we can compare our in-game telemetry with the fastest sim racers around the world in the same way that real-world Formula 1 drivers do across a race weekend. Albeit real F1 drivers are comparing their telemetry data with the likes of Hamilton, Verstappen and others, but same principle, right? But anyway, the tool I'm going to be using in this video is called Track Titan. Some of you guys may have come across them on Instagram or YouTube already, as they post some pretty nice tips and tricks videos. I'll leave a link in the description below and a card in the corner with a link to their platform. As I said, it's completely free to sign up and start accessing your telemetry data. There are some premium plans available that give you additional data such as corner breakdowns that I'm going to show you here. And the best part is I've got a 50% discount code which will give you 50% off your first 3 months or an extended trial period if you wish to try out the premium features. That code is SIMRACINGSETUP. Simply enter that when registering and you'll get both an extended free trial or 50% discount on your first 3 months. To make it easy, I'll leave the code in the description below so you can copy and paste it if you wish. And talking to Track Titan, it's incredibly easy to use. I won't go too deep with the setup, but I really don't need to. It's just a case of registering a free account and downloading their desktop app. Then you can go racing pretty much straight away. If you're racing on a PC, the app just runs in the background, you don't need to do anything at all. And if you're racing on an Xbox or PlayStation, you can still collect the data by having a computer or laptop on the same Wi-Fi network with the app running. But anyway, less of the boring tech talk. Let's jump right into how to unlock that hidden lap time. So I'm going to start by looking at my benchmark lap times around the Red Bull Ring. These are the fastest lap times that I've completed around the Austrian track in the past. And I've chosen the Red Bull Ring as it's a track that I'm not massively fast on, and I simply want to improve. So it's the perfect candidate to showcase this process. So what Track Titan does is record every lap that you complete while you have the background app running. Every lap you complete across every session is recorded and is accessible to analyse. So before you do any comparisons at all in the Track Titan platform, you need to set some benchmark lap times. For a session to be recorded, you should look to complete a couple of laps, and then it will show up almost instantly in Track Titan as soon as you end the session. So you can see from looking at my previous sessions in F1 22 that I've completed a few runs with the app running on various dates with various cars. I can then go ahead and click into a session, and I'm going to choose my previous fastest lap time, and the platform itself will show me a variety of information. I can see my fastest lap time broken down into mini segments, and before I go any further, I just have to say this is really cool. It doesn't use 3 sectors like we see in game. Instead, it divides each corner into its own mini segment, so you can analyse individual corners. Then you can see my theoretical best lap time. This takes into account the fastest I've ever driven each individual corner and adds them together to form my theoretical best lap. If I got a clean run and I could somehow string all of these personal best corner times together, I would instantly improve my overall lap time by around half a second. So that already shows me that I have potential to achieve a faster lap than I have. But if I could somehow string all of these corners together into a single lap, I still want to be able to improve on my own personal theoretical best time. And that's where the reference laps come into play. In the top right of the screen, I can choose a variety of reference laps to compare my lap against. 2 of the best options are to choose from either Track Titan's official lap or the community fastest lap. As you can see, my previous personal best lap time of a 1:06 puts me around 2 seconds slower than the fastest lap ever recorded with Track Titan, and just under 2 seconds off the pace of the official reference lap time. And to put it bluntly, that's because I'm not the quickest sim racer in F1 22, and I'm happy to admit that. But I can use these laps as a reference point to improve. So let's use the official Track Titan lap and see what we can learn. So you'll see straight away that I'm slower at every point around the lap than the reference lap. And you can see which corners I'm losing the most time on. Using this reference lap, you can see that I'm losing around 0.3 seconds at turns 1, 2 and 9. That's around a second a lap of time lost just on 3 individual corners. But that doesn't really help me get much faster. What will help me improve is by jumping into the analysis for each corner. And here's where things start to get really cool. Let's take a look at the first corner, for example. I can click the Analyze button to jump into the real telemetry for that specific corner. You'll see straight away that I can compare my racing line to the reference lap, and I can compare a huge amount of additional information. On the right hand side of the screen, you'll see the telemetry that is really useful. This is currently showing me my speed through the corner compared to the reference lap. So you can see straight away that I'm braking a little earlier than the reference. I'm slowing down a little more, around 10 kph at the slowest point. But you can also see that I'm actually getting on the power at about the same time as the reference lap. It's just that I'm going slower when I do transition onto the power, so my exit speed isn't quite as high. So lots of areas to work on then. What is also really helpful is some of the additional information I can access. If I click difference to reference, I can see where I'm losing the most amount of time. As I scroll through this graph, you'll see my position on the racing line to the left. You can see that I'm losing a small amount of time on corner entry, but then I'm losing around 0.28 seconds by the time I reach the apex. This is all lost during the braking, where I'm braking too early and slowing too much. Then as I exit the corner, I'm still losing some time, but not as much as during the braking zone. If we really want to dive deep and nerd out, I can also access my throttle and braking application as well and compare those. By clicking the throttle, I can compare my throttle input to the reference lap. You'll see that I lift off the throttle earlier but apply the throttle a bit sooner. Then there is a moment where I suddenly lift off a little bit and reapply the throttle. This will be during a slight oversteer moment as I got back on the power. But the good news is that I reach 100% throttle slightly before the reference lap. Then if I compare my braking chart, you'll see a very similar pattern. I brake a moment sooner, and I actually hold the brakes a little bit longer than the reference as well. And this is what's causing me to slow down too much mid-corner. Right, so now I know exactly what I'm doing wrong, and what I need to do to improve. So it's time to hit the track and work with this information. I've shown my process through a single corner by taking a deep dive look at turn 1. But what I have also done in the meantime is analyse the other corners where I'm losing time. So I'm going into this next set of runs with a lot of information. But I'm going to stay focused on the first turn for this video, analysing the data for this turn to show my improvement. So you can see here that I run a fairly long run to get a lot of data and to slowly improve my lap time. You can see that over time my overall best lap time is coming down, and I'm having varying success in turn 1. Some attempts do happen to be much less successful than others. Lapping fast ultimately comes down to practice, but going in armed with the amount of information I now have is a huge advantage. There is no way to see this information in F122. All you can do is race against a ghost on track, but that isn't always very helpful. So you'll see here me hitting turn 1 multiple times. I'm actually completing full laps, otherwise the data won't transfer into Track Titan. I'm just showing turn 1 for this video. You'll see with each attempt that I'm trying something different. You'll see that on some attempts I run wide when I'm pushing too hard, but other attempts will be solid and will show some improvement. So with more laps now under my belt and a faster overall lap time, I can jump back into the telemetry and see where I've improved. You'll now see that when looking at the overall circuit map, I'm much closer than I was to the reference lap at certain points around the track. I mean, I'm still pretty far off at some places, but I'm just going to look at those corners as areas I can still improve on. Jumping back into the turn 1 data, you'll see that I'm losing less time than I did before. I've found around 0.2 of a second in the first corner alone compared to my previous best lap. Looking at the detailed telemetry for turn 1, you can now see that I'm replicating the reference lap much closer. This is certainly progress. So after looking at the reference data once again, doing the same process and spending a little while longer on track, I managed to improve my lap time to a 1:05. This is almost exactly 1 second faster than my previous personal best before using Track Titan. Yes, there is still a way to go before I'm as fast as the reference lap, and I may never actually get there, but I have made an overall gain of around a second a lap, and if you look at my theoretical best time, it's down at a 1:04.5. Looking at the lap chart again, I'm now comparing my new fastest lap with my old fastest lap. You can see that I've found time at every single point in the circuit. Remember, this is a track that I've raced at hundreds of times across different F1 games. This isn't me driving an intentionally slow lap initially just to show a huge improvement. My original lap that we looked at the beginning of this video was certainly representative of my overall pace before going into this process. And I can say that I've actually improved by around a second a lap in about 2 hours worth of practicing. That time's a combination of me analysing my different lap data and time on track. That's pretty crazy if you ask me. With F1 22 being a weird mixture of simulation and arcade, I can't imagine we're going to get telemetry such as this in-game for a very long time, if ever. So the fact that it is actually so easily accessible using a third-party tool is great news for everyone looking to improve. As I said at the beginning, I'm going to leave a link below for Track Titan, which as I mentioned is completely free to try out. There are a couple of premium plans available which give you access to even more data, such as the corner telemetry breakdown that I showed in this video. I do have a code for both an extended free trial period of the premium plans if you wanted to test it out before buying, and the code will also save you 50% off your first 3 months if you do decide to subscribe. That code is SIMRACINGSETUP. Simply enter that when registering either for a free trial or premium account, and you'll get both your extended free trial and a 50% discount on the first 3 months. Again, I'm going to leave this code in the description for you guys to copy and paste if you wish. If you've enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments below. Hit that like button as well. But let me know in the comments what you think of this platform and what your guys' process is to improve your lap time. Also, if you enjoyed this video, subscribe as well because I release daily sim racing and Formula 1 content. But for now guys, see you on track.